Greetings, world. Welcome to a MEN-talRollaDeK podcast show. Today's esteemed host, Chantrice. Greetings, Queen.
Greetings.
How are you?
Good, good.
Today's topic is red flags. Um, Red flags. What the hell is a red flag? Is a red flag a moment in between your illusion pertaining to your male or female counterpart, something that you don't agree to, a disdain, maybe, or a reaction you weren't ready for, or something that you've seen that you can't unsee? Red flags. Chantrice.
Yes. Um, there's several red flags when it comes to male-female relations. I mean, sometimes it's all subjective. Sometimes what I would consider a red flag, the next chick thinks is normal. That might be a little bit part of the problem too, but there could be several ways that it could go. I mean, my prime indicator are physical red flags, but honestly, it really starts before that. It could be verbal. You know, um, I know that when getting into an altercation with other people, I think that even though it's a disagreement, there are unspoken rules. Those don't go below the belt. You know what I mean? So if you be like, "Hey, I hate you," blah 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 blah, and then the other person like calls you, "Oh, you filthy whore," or like bitch, like totally like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" That's a red flag when someone will call you out your name so easily like that. You know? What do you think?
Um, Past relationships for me, there have been many red flags. Like, for instance, Shorty couldn't have her way, so she picked up her knife,
Huh.
and I thought it was a joke. And then years later, found out that Shorty's abusive. She liked to throw down. So yeah, we get them in our day to day, and I feel like we need to run from them sincerely, especially in relationships, because it creates chaos, it creates abuse mentally, and physically and verbally. So we need to understand what these things are and how to identify them and how to move away from them, because they're going to be catastrophic in the future or your present or wherever. Period.
And and honestly, I feel like the red flags, they are precursors to the actual abuse. Because okay, yeah, she did pick up the knife, but she wants to see how you reacted the first time with her picking up the knife. You know what I mean? So
Interesting.
right then and there, you set the boundaries for how that was going to go on the next interaction. Oh, I see this guy lets me pull knives on him. So you know what I mean? So what's next? Let me try something different next.
So basically, what you're saying is that it's more so me teaching her how to treat me and what I'm going to go for and what I'm not going to go for. Basically, that's what you're saying.
Basically, and it works. The better explanation for it is when it comes to male on female type of violence. Because I know with women, it starts verbal usually. For for dude to call you out your name real easy during a disagreement. Then it starts oh, let me grab her wrist. You don't do nothing then. Oh, let me shove her against the wall. These are physical actions without actually being hit, but it's still, you know, let me shove her real quick. And all these times you may get angry and you may like cuss or something, but essentially you don't leave and you don't really do too much. And the next thing you know, is this guy has smacked you, and he already knew what the reaction would be because he's tried you so many times. So this time that he actually smacks you, you're not going to do much. You're definitely not going to leave.
Wow. So basically what you're saying is that everything that we go through, we basically allow it to actually happen. And there's a test with these things that actually transpired at whatever particular moment. That's what you're saying?
I mean, we do allow these things to happen. I'm not going to solely blame this on one individual because let's be real, regardless of you letting this happen, the person being hit is still the victim because at the end of the day, I'm the one being hit. But, like I said, like what the topic is red flags. There are signs that this is what this was going to lead up to. And
Okay.
and honestly not, and especially when you first start out with dating and experiencing relations with opposite sex. I mean, you really don't even know to look for those signs if you haven't seen it in your own personal life. Like, so if your mother hadn't been in an abusive relationship or anybody close to you,
Hmm.
you really wouldn't be able to spot those signs. I can only speak as a mature woman who's seen it before, you know?
Interesting. But what do you say about the people or the ones that don't pay attention to what a red flag is? The ones that laugh it off like the shit is all good and he's just being silly or she's just silly or whatever you might say.
Listen, there are those who think that that type of thing is cute. Um, I always make an example of, you always see like news articles or whatever on the news. Woman, husband kills mother of wife of four, and then turns the gun on himself, or or just kills her. And then it's like they make it seem like this man just snapped one day and was like, you know what, I'm gonna go in here and kill her. No, the signs were there. It's just that you thought it was cute. You know what I mean? You be like, oh my gosh, girl, he done called me 14 times. Like, I'm not answering the phone. Lady, that is not funny. Like, that person is serious. Like, now I don't necessarily want to call him crazy. I mean, but let's call a spade a spade. That is crazy. That's crazy behavior. And for a person that's going to do that, that person is definitely physically and I mean verbally and probably physically abusive.
Hey, if you're watching this show, please hit the like button. It's free. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. A topic I want to actually bring up, which is a huge red flag for me. I think like some weeks back, we saw an article came out about Tip and Tiny,
Mm.
the
Them drugging allegedly.
sex
Drugging.
trafficking allegedly
Yeah.
scenario. Yeah.
I mean, I had this big conversation with my best friend, and she put her 2 cents in and brought me to a new perspective. But on this, I mean, obviously, drugging women, holding them against their will. which is what they are alleged to have done, is criminal. No matter how you put, there's no way that you can spin that can make that make sense. But in the article, a lot of these girls, they would find at strip clubs, they would be strippers. So they would go get these girls as strippers and bring them back. Well, have them driven back to the wherever, and they would take their phones at the door, which is standard practice with when you go to famous celebrity parties and stuff. But for the most part, everybody knows what they were walking into. I mean, that's way in Georgia. I'm here in San Diego, and I knew, like, it's no secret of what they into, and I knew about it way out here. So I know the girls living a stripper lifestyle definitely know about it out there. But then they choose to walk into that situation anyway. Why?
Are you victim blaming?
You know what? Call it what you want.
Hmm.
I call it accountability, because if everybody is telling you, and circles are small, and I know the circle in Atlanta is small. And strippers definitely talk. So it's like, okay, so I know your stripper homegirls and told you, girl, you know that what they be up to at them party. You hear about stuff like that. So you still want to go? Like, nah. And now you're upset that you went and you lost control of the situation. Honey, you never had control of the situation to begin with. That's what the other strippers tried to tell you. But you wanted to go anyway.
So,
So
okay.
whose fault is that
I mean, it's the adult.
in that situation?
Everybody is an adult in this situation, and you're correct. Um, Accountability is a major thing, right? But some people are naive to certain circumstances, right? Say, what if this is a new stripper and she had an older stripper like hint her like, oh, let's go, I got you. You know what I'm saying? So when
Mm.
she get there, that older stripper go into a different room and now she's by herself, feeling uncomfortable, not knowing what to expect in these scenarios, right? What do you
Mhm.
say to a stripper of such magnitude that's not mature to the circumstances?
Um,
Money's not everything.
at this, no, it's not that money is not everything, but it's like, if I'm a drug dealer, it's my favorite example. Like, if I'm a drug dealer, can I afford to go in the drug game naive like that though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, can I afford to not know anything about this business? To not know that, hey, you might want to keep a gun on you because you might get robbed. Like, hey, sometimes um I don't know. The cops might stop you, but you might be able to pay your way out of certain small situations. Like, you should know all these things going into certain businesses. I mean, and that's really any business when you think about it. You should know a bit of the risk. And stripping ain't no different, especially stripping. These girls know that, and unfortunately, strippers get targeted even more than your average young girl would get targeted, because men already think that they just are, every stripper is pay to play type chick. So they already think that you're down for whatever, doing that doing that as a job. Now, obviously we know that that's not true, but that's the assumption. So they come at you like, hey, try to coerce you to, I give you an extra $200 for something so and so X-rated that they're not supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? So you should already know that everybody's gonna tell you, girl, they gonna try you, but you say no and blah blah blah, and if they want to invite you to certain parties, like, no, you only get naked within this club, because once you leave this club, you have no protection. Like, stuff like that. I'm not even a stripper, and I'm sitting here explaining, like, the safety of strippers, or what I would be, a normal person would be thinking. So that's just one of the businesses that you can't go into naive. Now, in that situation, actually, that you described, that an older chick told her that, she was okay, that she would have her back. I mean, yes, there is a little bit more trust put into the, okay, she's been to a TI party before, she got me. But still, you also know that you're going to a party full of men, and she's just one woman. So,
Somebody said you
and
sound experienced.
listen,
Oh shit.
I'm not even, trust me, I ain't, but I'm real square with when it comes to that type. But I
I
just know that.
ain't. Okay.
But when it comes to safety, though, I'm just thinking of me being the young 20-year-old that I once was, like, what my limits were. Even at that age, I was like, no, I'm not. You know what I mean? So, and I wasn't even about that life. These girls are. So you can't be walking into situations with no information, naive, trying to meet your baller shot caller, your forever man, at a TI party. No.
I got a thing though, because there's certain things I see as a man, right? And it triggers me. I remember speaking to you about um there's no wondering anymore. Like everything is just so upfront in front of you. Like before coming up, you had to like aim to figure out what the female body looks like or what she looks like under her clothes. Now it's just by the snap of my finger, man. Like, yo,
Right.
that's what she working with. So would you say the fact that everything is exposed now is what gives certain men the fuel to act the way they act towards certain women?
I wouldn't simplify it like that
Please
because
simplify it
everything
for
is
me.
exposed, that you shouldn't know how to, like, act like you ain't never seen a woman. I mean, but I know I get a lot of pushback when it comes to women, and they talk about, oh, I'm dressing sexy. Like, when I go to the club and I dress sexy, I'm not really sitting in here. I'm really trying to upstage these other women. And I no, that's not how that works. When I go to a club environment, yes, I'm here with my titties and half my ass out because I'm trying to attract male attention. I could care less what these women think. Now, if you
My
were trying to go to the
God.
club and you a host married
Honesty.
woman,
Shit.
you
Honesty. I love it. Keep
I'm
going. I'm
saying,
sorry.
but if you go into the club and you're a wholesome married woman, you just there because it was one of your girls' birthdays or whatever, you're gonna dress sexy, but for the most part, you still gonna be a lot covered up. And that's how you can tell the difference between the single gals out there trying to get it and the married ones. Like I said, you still gonna be sexy because this is the club. You don't want to look like you going to church, but you're not out here, like I said, with your titties and your ass out, bouncing them things, trying to get all that kind of attention. So same rules apply.
That's the illusion I was talking about last week because here she is within her sexy get up and she's telling me, "Oh, I'm not here for that." And it's
Honey,
kind of
that's
like
what you're here for.
and it's kind of like how you stated earlier, like if a man grope you a certain way or a woman, it's kind of like they're testing you to see how you're going to react, if they can take it
Mhm.
a step further, so on and so forth.
Right.
you know That's a red flag as well. Because when you get the
Somebody said there's
attention,
a difference between hoes and wives. I'm sorry to cut you off. There's a difference between hoes and wives. No, there isn't.
I mean, your
Hoes
wife can.
are wives to the right man. But no, I joke about that. But
No, but
still,
your wife can be a hoe just for you.
I mean, she was to the last dude. I'm
Oh
saying,
wow.
like that's subjective. We were all somebody different to every different person we were with. So, to a couple girls ago, you was a clown. But to your wife, she would be like, "My husband? No." So that's subjective. We're not gonna play though that.
Rich says, eyes don't know how y'all look at it, but eyes look at it like this. Correct, sir. Very much so. Very much so. Very much so. But speaking,
I mean, but also I'm not even gonna be like, I mean, yes, like I say, the single girls in the club, with ass and titties out trying to get attention. Um, but again, too, sometimes you'll be in the club and depending on where you are, I think it might be a regional thing, but guys will try to grab you. And depending on how you act is also gonna set the precedence for that. Because I'm the type of chick, if I'm in the club, do not grab me. There are so many ways you can get my attention, but to physically grab me, that's too aggressive for me, Playboy. No.
what do you mean by grab you? You don't want him to hold you on your wrist. You don't want him to
Don't grab
tap
my
tap
wrist.
you on your
Don't
shoulder.
no, don't put your hands around my waist. Don't nah. You
Not
could
even
have
if the
got my
Jamaican song
attention.
came on. Not even if you
God,
listen to the Dutty wine.
nah. Especially not then.
So what are
Jamaican dudes be mad aggressive.
what are, what are some red flags that you've seen other females go through?
Um, Mostly, and the thing about abuse is people also, or another way that it's wrong is people also have a good way of hiding it for a long time. And I personally have never seen um a man be physically abusive towards women in my face that I know. Um I've seen the verbal, and excuse my bad language, but oh, fuck you, you bitch, you stank bitch. Like, for those words to come out your mouth to your woman, the mother of your child, your wife, whatever, in public, I mean, it's wrong enough in private, but still in public, you don't care. Like, there's no way you're telling me that man talking to you that way is not, it does not slap the shit out of you when y'all get home.
Interesting. Interesting. So why do women stay within a
Stay.
situation when there's red flags within them?
But the why is the hard part though, because there could be
Is it materialistic things? Is it the pocket? Is it the
no,
bank
I mean,
account?
there's so many reasons. I mean, each situation is an individual thing. I mean, it could be, like I mentioned before, you're used to an environment of abuse. You've seen it within the home, so it's normal to you. You think that that's eventually how all relationships turn out. I mean, most of your homegirls probably get their ass beat too. So, so when you're surrounded by it, you think it's normal. Or there can be incentives to say, I always talk about incentives with you. There's an incentive to do most things in life. And to stick around, it could be this man found me in the gutter and he upgraded my life. And without him, I feel like without him, I would be nothing. I would go back to nothing. So, there could be that incentive. So many, but to each situation is a different one. There could be, we got 4 kids together. If this man leaves me, who else is gonna want me? Like, so many reasons of why people stay in the bad situations that they find themselves in.
So basically, it's like, for certain women, they know that their value decrease the older they get.
Hell,
So they
sometimes people even be like, "I've been with this person for 20 years.
one of
I've invested too much in this relationship to call it quits now."
one of the illest things I hear, and I've used this too, is better the devil you know than the one you don't. That's a red flag within itself. You
Wait,
know,
I'm sorry, repeat
it's
that?
better the devil you know than the one you don't, basically. So in actuality, what they're saying
Yeah.
is kind of like what you just said. I've
Mhm.
invested in this relationship, and
Yeah.
no matter the hoes or the bitches I called my wife, or um the female may call dude like a deadbeat or whatever, disrespectful. They be like, I don't feel like going out there and finding somebody else.
Yeah, like, no matter how bad this relationship is, the dating pool is even worse. So, I could see that, but, it's up to them to realize that, you know, it's up to them to get tired essentially of the bullshit. 'Cause, I love well, I don't love to hear it, but you always hear chicks and like, "Oh, I'm tired of him cheating on me, and I'm tired of it." You're not tired. No, you're not. You're not tired of getting smacked in the head. You're not tired of getting your wig snatched. You're not tired of finding drawers in the back of the seat of your car. You're not tired. Still in the situation. You are not tired enough.
Is it the dick that hypnotized them, or the box that
I
snatched them
mean,
up, the snapper that got them hooked? Is that what it is? Really? Why?
the Soul Snatcher 3000.
Yeah.
No.
Why most men or women maintain themselves within a situation that's abusive?
I mean, I ain't gonna say that. That might make it a little bit more addicting. It really doesn't help if, like I said, if your wife has the Soul Snatcher 3000, or your husband, your I'm not gonna say husband because these people usually don't make it to marriage, but
Oh
or
shit.
your man has the dick of life and he's abusive. It do make it hard. And it makes it even worse when the chicks finally do find the confidence. And I'm coming to this from a female's perspective because that's what I'm given. But it when chicks finally do find the confidence to step out on this horrible man of theirs, whether it's cheating or if they actually break up with the guy and try another guy, and then that guy doesn't meet up to the sexual standards of the abuser, that makes it even worse. Because not only was I doubting myself in this, but if this is what I got to look forward to, I can take getting slapped around every once in a while. So
Really?
I'm 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 not
So
saying
you
that
up
that's how
here?
I
So
think
you
about
up
it,
here? So you up here? Really?
but I'm
You
thinking
see
that
why?
that's
You see
what's
why
next.
the last person said you sound experienced. Oh
Well,
man.
listen,
Oh shit. That's funny. She said, and he said, and that is a red flag. It's giving like vibes. Laugh out loud. Rich said, where and when was the first strip club? Strip joint.
what with Ti and Tiny?
I don't know. He probably was watching what's that movie with Bernie Mac?
Oh. Right.
Oh,
Even
but
that movie will tell you.
I get what he's saying. The first strip joint is actually in your crib.
Oh.
If yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, some red flags just have people on a on a hamster wheel.
They do. But you know what they say, the old saying goes, a lesson will come back around if you don't learn it.
Fam,
So,
fam, she had the snapper. I was hooked. You know what I'm saying? And then I thought like, yo, I'm
you
putting it down.
wouldn't be
I'm
the
putting it
first.
down, and you know what I mean? She cooking, she cleaning and whatever, tap that ass. I'm like, yo, I forget about it. But the shit kept adding up.
Yeah,
And the more
but
and the
it
more it
was
adds
worth it
up,
for a long time though, wasn't it?
yeah, like you said,
It was
I
worth it
wasn't
until it
tired.
wasn't.
I wasn't tired until you
Exactly.
reach that pinnacle, that breaking point when you say enough is enough.
Yeah.
Enough is enough.
And and if the person is a good abuser, you can stand it for so much more longer because if people outside of your household don't see it, you can put up with it a lot more. So if your mama ain't never seen this man call you a stupid bitch or hit you upside your head or whatever, none of your family really knows, none of your friends ain't seen it. Oh, you can withstand it for so long.
I got scars, fam. I got scars on my body. I got years of scars.
I mean, but who saw you get those scars though? If nobody saw,
Oh, they saw they
then
saw they saw them. The fact that they saw them.
but what do chicks say when people see black eyes? Oh, I fell. I
Yo,
mean,
up to this day, some you know what I mean. Some of my friends think I got shot.
I'm saying.
It was a bite mark, and she took a chunk
So,
out.
I mean, but at the end of the day, what were you doing though? That was
Stupidity, like, oh, I don't give up. I can change this person. I can change this situation,
no,
and
but what eventually you begin to know her triggers. So what were you doing that was triggering her to feel like she needed to do that?
niggas was just angry, yo. And I felt like one thing.
Eh,
One thing. No, I'm gonna explain. Like one thing I've learned is like when a woman is upset, don't stand in front of her, basically, and try to tell her to calm down on how to deal with that upset. Just leave the house. Give it an hour or two. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah. But I'm the type of dude thinking positivity works sometime. I needed a priest because like she got the devil in the ass. That shit was happening. But
Eh,
yeah, I have a whole bunch of red flags that end up with scars.
I'm
But
saying that too. And like I said, we're talking about accountability on all sides. At the end of the day, you're still the victim if you're the one being physically abused. But like I said, the person staying in the situation, sometimes you legit be in a relationship with a person that's legit crazy. Like you don't know when they walk through this door, you don't know what mood they're gonna be in, like how this is gonna go. But
true.
a lot of times, like I said, the chicks be thinking that the mess is cute, when dudes be acting crazy or whatever. A lot of times you learn this person's triggers. And I use the example in the beginning of the chick was like, oh, he's called me 14 times in a row. I'm not answering him. But it's like, girl, when you don't answer his phone calls, it drives him crazy. You do this. You know that you're not like the rest of us who can be like, oh, my man knows that I'm out, so I can just put my phone on ignore. And when I get home, he'll be like, hey, babe, why didn't you answer the phone? You'd be like, oh, I was hanging out. It was loud in there, so I didn't answer. And a reasonable man will be like, oh, okay, I was just checking up on you. It's whatever. But this crazy man specifically, you think that when you get in the door, he go after him after you ignore his phone call 27 times that he just gonna be like, oh babe, I was so worried about you. Soon as you get in that door, pop right in the face.
it, I
And
don't
then
think
you're like, oh, why you hit me? Girl, you
I
knew
don't
he was
think
gonna hit you. You
I don't
do
think
this
all
every
men.
weekend.
I don't think all men does that.
No,
Like
I'm not saying all men do that at all. I'm just saying these patterns of abuse that we find ourselves in. and then you want to egg on the abusive motherfucker that you're with. You know that you can't live your lifestyle with the rest of us out here in relationships with reasonable people. That's
But
not
look
who
at
you
this.
with.
But look at this. Do you know that while she's in the club and he's calling, or say, she is in the club and he doesn't call and he allow her to do her. Do you know that triggers her as well?
Yeah, but he's not gonna get his ass beat though when you get home. You're
Well,
not gonna bust
you,
down that door
you,
and be like, "Why you ain't called me?"
you never
That's not how
know.
that
You never
works.
know. I've seen certain women whip a man ass in public,
Mm,
and you would swear it's his mother.
well, at that point, it probably was, because that's
Hey,
she took that
you
man's balls a long time ago.
you know what triggers me? You know it's a red flag, and I feel like most women thinks it's okay. Listen, if you have a situation where the man cheat or he no longer wants you, but you feel like coming around and fucking his car up by keying it, writing cheater itch on it, or throwing a brick through his mirror, I'm sorry, you deserve to get shot in your pinky toe. Y'all need to stop doing that shit.
I mean, that usually happens when, once again, women feel like, I mean, it's no fault, it's nobody's fault, but it still hurts that I stayed in this relationship with this man for this long because I've invested this much in this relationship, right? And then this dude wants to cheat on me and be with the next chick. Like, nah, y'all not about to be happy. I'm keying your car. I'm busting these windows. Is it right? No, I think it's very toxic. But do I get the woman's rage? I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah, okay. I want to talk about what Asia said. She said I had to emotionally detach before I physically left.
That's always how it is with women.
Is it just women alone though?
I feel like men usually leave the relationship physically first, and then they emotions later. And women
No.
to leave the relationship, it has to be like you're emotionally and mentally done
Lies.
with this situation.
Lies. A woman will be in a 6-year relationship and she left you 3 years ago.
Yes,
In
mentally,
her
but she's
mind, in
still
her
there
mind, in
in
her
her
mind.
mind. Right.
Okay, she left.
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't
And it
matter
took
if she's
her
there.
it took her a whole nother 3 more years to physically fuck the next nigga to leave you.
It,
You
it
see how that
doesn't
worked?
it doesn't matter. That's kind of like me going out, um, not kissing or touching a female, but her number's in my phone. You be like, yo, that's cheating.
I mean,
What's the difference?
it's not cheating, but you're in your mind, you were about to make plans with this woman. I mean, you weren't about to get her number to read books together.
Let's not talk about how y'all sit in front of us and dead ass look into our souls while you talking to your boyfriend and saying it's your cousin. Um,
Um, I mean,
yeah, but
we learn from the best. I mean, like I
let's
said,
touch base.
that woman has been mentally gone for a long time, but she's still physically there, entertaining your ass, having a lie about the next man being her brother. Like, come on.
Red flag. Asia said, "Can we address the emotional abuse and the manipulative red flags? That type of abuse isn't addressed enough, and people don't see the triggers." You wanna give us an example, Asia? You said emotional abuse. I get the manipulative part because I'm somewhat manipulative.
I think the emotional abuse might be the type of, you know, you're nothing. I mean, look at you. You didn't have 4 of my kids. Look at all the weight you've gained. Who gonna want you after who wants you now? Ain't nobody looking at you. Big head ass. Like that could be considered emotional abuse. And then manipulation. I mean, like I said, that's usually the money situation. It's like, bitch, I found you in the gutter. So what you trying to leave me? You nothing without me. Like, and then next thing you know, you come home and there's a Tesla in your driveway, and you're like, well,
Or
goddamn.
or let's speak on for the woman that would have a certain man that won't spend his money but will take the woman's money and milk
Mm.
her dry and leech off of her, but he won't return the
Well,
same
that's
return
already
she had
the
put
woman,
in.
but that's already the woman who's already emotionally broken to even be in that situation. So her brokenness became came before the situation that is. So essentially, he probably found her broken for her to even enter a situation like that.
Hmm. So the manipulative part is the abuse, the physic the mental and verbal abuse that he used, like, oh, you're ugly and this, that, and the third, you're worthless, and so on and so forth. You know, you ain't gonna find a man like me, and I'm the best thing for you. But like 5 seconds later, he dick you down and kiss you on your neck and you melt like butter. You come back like, oh, I love this man. But how do you know it's love when that love is not being applied to yourself because you're still in this shitty relationship?
Well, that's the problem. You don't know that that's not love.
So, to the females, the women, and the queens out there, you come first. Put that love into you. And for the males as well. And the more you put that love into you, the less you would need somebody to validate what love means to you. Period. Because sometimes we give so much and we don't give to ourselves. When that person leaves, like they took their entire love, or we think they took their love with them. So now we're craving, we're in the dark, we're stressing, we're going through this, that, and the third. But you're forgetting, like, yo, if I would have gave that love to myself, I would have realized that, yo, him or she loving me is an extra attribute because I already love myself. So I won't tolerate certain things. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna stand for myself. I'm gonna walk away from these shit.
Well, my
Picture
thing
getting a
is,
gift you don't like. Go ahead, Queen.
my thing is, a lot of us, like I said, especially starting out, you kind of don't know nothing about nothing. You go, you have your nose be wide open when you like in high school and stuff. With your first, think about how you were with your first love. Like you was gonna spend in your head, you was gonna spend the rest of your life with this person, and everything was gonna be just rainbows and butterflies, and you're happily ever after with this one person, and that was
She
gonna
did
be
me
it, right?
dirty.
Exactly. But you had to learn that. And what happened? Your
I still went
next,
back.
well, okay.
She did it
After
again.
that, but it's just, and you learned again.
And she did it again.
But no, but eventually the way it's supposed to go is that each relationship you get in should be better than the last, and you should be learning as you go. My problem is with chicks who constantly find themselves in the same type of relationships, in the same type of situations. It's like
You know why?
you're not learning anything, and then they be like, oh, men be hitting on women. It's like, no, none of these. You mean to tell me every man you meet ends up beating your ass?
You know why
Girl, it's
though?
you, it's not them, it's you.
Detachment. They stay attached to the past relationship and they take that same fucked up stigma and carry it over. New man, different face, same body.
Mm.
And they create this shit in their head. Like, people really don't pay attention to their thoughts. Your thoughts create your reality. What you think and utter out your mouth becomes reality. Real talk.
Mm.
And a lot of men go out there looking for their mothers.
Man.
I can easily see a lot of women go out there looking for their fathers, but we're not gonna jump in that rabbit hole.
I
I,
mean,
I don't want y'all to kill me, but yeah.
it's the truth. I mean, look, I'm looking my granddad, he raised me, and I'm essentially looking for that in these men. My granddaddy spoiled me rotten, showered me with love, affection, and gifts. I love that. No.
Here's a red flag that triggers me. I'm a I'm a man. So you want me to come with a six-figure paycheck, a six-figure bank account, a house, a car, and all the necessities that elevates you. But what are you bringing to elevate me? What's your
Yeah.
checklist?
Mm, I mean, nothing financial. I don't
I think you should have all the same things that you're looking for in me.
I think that a woman should come with the ability to support herself in her lifestyle. And then when you find her, she should be able to add value to your life. So there are a lot of women out there who can sustain themselves in their lifestyle, but essentially they only know how to be, I don't want to say with themselves, but
Keep it a
you couldn't
buck.
just it, you couldn't just insert those women into a family and they could just totally take on the mothering, the wifely role, because they are essentially are selfish, you know. They know, like I described them, they know how to take care of themselves. But if you're meeting the right woman, not only does she know how to take care of yourself, but when you insert her into your life, you feel like she takes care of you too. Not financially, but everything else. Like at being this woman with this woman, I don't feel drained. I feel loved. I feel supported. And and whatever else that you need. And you can feel the difference. I mean, I think kind of you got a lot of men complain about, oh, but you can't do this and this. I was like, it's not, you got to charge it to the game if you don't fell in love with a lazy bitch. Once
Are you?
again, red flags. All the signs were there that this woman
Oh
wasn't
shit!
quite up to par. But something about you, something about her made you be like, nah, I'ma stay. Man, she got potential. Yeah. So your thought.
Do you think it's a man's duty to teach a woman certain things or broker broker her into being a better housewife?
No, I think that she should already come with that. And unfortunately, a lot of women's mothers haven't taught them that, either because they just simply haven't or because they mamas wasn't shit too.
Wow.
But
So you
listen,
said
that's
filet
something that we
mignon
don't
over
like to talk
macaroni and
about.
cheese, right?
What you say?
Filet mignon over macaroni and cheese, right?
I'm just saying that's something that we don't like to talk about. Some women aren't good housewives because their mothers weren't good housewives. Shit, house women, let alone wives.
The floor is yours. Go ahead.
So
I'm listening. Teach me
if
something.
you never seen it, how do you know to be it? Or if your mother didn't even nurture that within you, because sometimes you don't necessarily have to see it in real time for a mother to be able to instruct you on, certain things. Or even within your family, your grandmother, your aunties, you have different expressions of it within your family for you to, when come time for you to be that wife and mother, you're going to be fine. But if you've never had that nurtured and never seen it up close in person, I mean, what do you kind of expect
What
sometimes?
a- what about the village? I don't think a single mom can do all of that on her own. That's why it's good to have great friends around you, cuz when I was growing up there was a village. If I go outside and do something that my mom is not too fond of, a stranger will bust my ass. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
certain things I've learned and I've adapt from other male figures that my father never gave to me because I didn't know this dude.
Of course.
So if I can adapt to these things, why is it so hard for females to do the same?
Um, that's a little bit different. It's got the same basis, but um
Ladies and gentlemen,
essentially
she's tongue tied.
no, because I mean, because what kind of housewife are we talking? And every woman kind of runs their household different. And you have to understand that if she's used to working women, you know, that it's only now through the invention of social media and stuff do we kind of get a little bit of a glimpse of that mothers are actually like communicating, and you get a little bit of a glimpse into how different people are raising their kids. And you can tell by when you see women with children on social media and stuff, like, are you, I don't know, like, what's an example? Are you oh, in this pandemic, with all the children on online learning, are you actually taking the time to teach your kids shit? Or are they just falling behind due to them not being in school and this time? Like, you know what I mean? This is where the strong mothers are really shining through right now, I think.
I've seen
And
a
the
lot
other
of
ones are not.
I've seen a lot of parents that's wishing school open back up so they can
Yeah.
get their kids' asses out of the
Mm.
house.
Out of the house. I mean, but
Because
that's kind of like because the kids and the social interaction that they know that the children miss. I don't think that that's has anything necessarily to do with because I'm tired of them. I mean, that might be a little bit of it, but but for the most part, it's the children miss the interaction too. And I mean, and then they're at home all day, not being active, probably in front of the video game after the little online sessions with the teacher and playing video games, not, you know what I mean? So I get that part.
I feel like today is very dramatic and different. See, like me coming up, like my mom, her energy and respect was left in the house, right? So
Mhm.
even when she's not there, we will still uphold certain things. House would be clean, who could cook, food would be cooked. You take care of your siblings, so on and so forth. Now it's kind of
Right.
fickle. Like I see moms twerking with daughters. The morale is not there anymore. I see fathers watching certain sons abuse females, and they're justifying this shit. And I'm like, what has changed in the short years compared to now?
I mean, that's a whole nother show of what has changed in the parenting style, on the different parenting style from our parents to our grandparents. I tell my mom it's that generation that dropped the ball with our generation. And the generation after me and you is even there's no hope for them little fuckers. Like they're the worst. But our generation still has a little bit of respect, like you just said. You know,
Red
um
flags, right?
yeah, like but we still have a little bit of sense and respect for elders and stuff, but still out the way our parents parented us and the way they were parented from our grandparents is three completely different styles. So that's a whole nother show.
Absolutely. We definitely gonna make that another show. Since we're winding down, talk to the female race basically. If you can give them two advice to spotting red flags and eliminating them, what advice would you give?
Honestly, I can tell you how to spot red flags all day, but a person is not gonna. That's not even how the human psyche is set up for you to be like, oh, that's a red flag. I'm not gonna proceed when it comes to emotional situations. So that would be expecting way too much for you to, okay, let me identify this and eliminate it, right? So all I can say is you see the red flags and you make a mental note of them. So personally, that's all I can say is you make a mental note of them. So when the shit does progress, you can either, what do they say? You can fight or flee. You can either flee this situation because you see that, okay, this is getting worse as this goes on. It's not getting better. Let me just head for the heels.
Sink or
Or
swim.
or you can stay and fight. And Lord only knows how that's gonna end up. So, that's really all I can say to that. And like I said before, the point of each relationship is that you're supposed to learn better from your next relationship should be better than the last. You know what I mean? Until you finally come to the end, I guess, and that's finding someone to spend the rest of your life with. But you should never always be getting into the same situations, essentially. Every person that you're with winds up abusing you. No, it's you, it's not them. Maybe you need to take a break and do a lot of self reflection and learn, why do I keep getting in relationships with men that hit me?
What do you say to the women that claim they can't be alone or they don't like to be in single or lonely?
Well, that woman already knows she needs a therapist. If those words have even escaped her mouth, she clearly knows the problem.
I love your honesty.
Listen, we need a campaign. Black therapists matter. We need more black therapists out here, and more black people need to be in therapy because that woman right there has already identified the problem. Now, why don't you have a therapist to work through this? Well, I
Cause
don't
she,
need
cause
no
she,
therapist. I ain't crazy. You might be though. You might
she's a
be.
she's a functional depressed individual.
Shit, that's everybody out here.
Indeed, we're gonna close the pod. It was a good show, really good show. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. For those of you that would like to listen back, or if you missed the show, go to Spotify, Audio Breaker, Apple Podcasts. Man, there's so much more. Go to YouTube, hit the notification bell, like and subscribe. Send me a friend request on Facebook on how you can join the MEN-talRollaDeK group. And with that being said, elevation and intelligence is the motivation required to strengthen oneself. Keep in mind, your eyes only see as far as your feet takes you. Pay attention to those red flags. Take accountability. Understand that they are red flags and abuse is abuse. Therefore, don't stand there and take them. Don't laugh at shit that's not funny. Teach someone how to treat you. But first, you got to learn how to treat yourself before you can identify that with someone else. And with that being said, love, prosperity, and elevation. Peace.